Welcome everyone to another episode of Kiwi Talks. I have in the studio with me the founder of liquor company 8PM, Ash Parmar. How you doing?
Yeah, good, buddy. Good. Yeah.
Let's move that mic a little bit closer.
Okay. Like there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. So first of all, I just want to know is how you got into this in the first place.
So I've been involved in liquor all my adult life.
Yep.
We bought a liquor store in Huntley in 2004.
Okay.
About the time when I was dropping out of uni, and parents bought it and started working in there, and we sort of grew from there.
Yep.
Sort of year on year, ended up with 6 bottle stores, including one in Dinsdale, not so far from here.
Oh, yeah?
I bet you didn't know that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, we sold that 3 years ago to buy my first house.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Congrats.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do in this day and age.
Oh, mate, I mean, yeah, there's so much I could talk about that.
Yeah. We could get into that later, maybe.
Yeah. But, so it's been a long liquor industry journey, and I've been at it for 15 years, and it's only the last 2 years I've focused on the 8PM side of things. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, yeah, been around for a very long time, and I'm only 35, which I have to remind myself of both on both spectrums, you know. I do have a lot of time ahead of me, but sometimes I feel like I've lost a lot of time already because a lot of people come out of uni at 25, 26 with a master's and this and that. But by that time, I was getting geared up to get elected on a board of New Zealand's biggest liquor company.
Wow.
So there's different ways people achieve things.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like I'm on my second innings now with 8PM in the last 2 years, which has been pretty good.
Wow. So what made you get into it in the first place? Why the liquor industry?
So initially, I think it was not up to me. If I remember the timeline, we had a dairy in, again, Dinsdale. Dinsdale was the first suburb in Hamilton we lived in, or in New Zealand.
How long ago was this?
So from 2001 to 2004.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a dairy just up on Tuikaramea Road.
Yep.
On the way out to the Mormon church. And they had the dairy. I was at uni. They were looking to make a change. And I guess kind of thinking, you know, hey, the kids could work in here as well in the liquor store. And they made their move from selling the dairy to the liquor store. And me and my brother started working part-time initially. And then slowly, as I dropped out of uni, you know, just being in there full-time and started to take control of everything.
Right. Okay. Because you're originally from India.
Yeah, born and raised in New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
okay.
I was 17 when I moved here. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So what made you move here?
I don't know why. We had a family here.
Yep.
You know, mum's side. Her sister was here. Her brother was here.
Yep.
And a lot of family in Australia as well.
Yep.
So I guess it was mum and dad's decision. And we as excited teenagers growing up in New Delhi, we were just happy to go to New Zealand.
Yeah, well, I've been to India. I haven't been to New Delhi.
Right.
I know there's quite a bit of pollution and everything going on there at the moment.
Yeah, with the fireworks and the...
Yeah. Well, someone told me that they burn the states next to it, burn their farms.
Yeah. So
and then it kind of just drifts into New Delhi.
So you've got 2 big states, which are, they kind of say the fruit basket of India, Haryana and Punjab. Punjab is where my parents are from, who grow quite a significant amount of wheat and rice.
Right.
But what you got is a lot of straw, basically, or dry matter left after you've taken the grain away. And a lot of the farming is on a very small scale. You know, a farmer, like a family doing 2 hectares, 3 hectares at a time. So basically, at the end of the season, they'll just burn the whole thing. But there's just not one farmer. There's hundreds and thousands of them who burn this matter, and then it just drifts into New Delhi, which has its own set of challenges with overpopulation.
And it's an inland city as well.
It is. So there's no water. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like we used to get monsoon rain there. So
yeah, one of my previous guests, Dr. Vimal Kumar, he's from there, and he said the same thing.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, you would hope like hell in November there's some rain coming, but it's not really. There'll be hardly any rain that time of the year. So there's nothing pushing that smog down. So it just hangs around the air forever, making it very painful.
Do you go back much?
I haven't for a long time. So I haven't been back for 5 years.
Right.
I made a vow not to go back for 10 years.
Why is that?
My wife gets quite upset about it, but I made a vow that I will not go back for 10 years, but I use the same money to travel other parts of the world. And part of it was my trip I did to Scotland last year in March.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and that was part fun, part learning for the future.
In terms of when you say learning, what do you mean exactly?
Going to Scotland to learn about whiskey. So,
I see.
yeah.
Good man. Oh, okay. All right. So, and how did you get into business? How did the whole business aspect of it? Have you always had a business mind?
I don't know, like, people joke that us Indians are born with a calculator and a cash register.
Well, yes, I kind of agree with that stereotype because I know when I went to India, I felt very, very dumb. Because I met so many smart people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems to come more naturally to
I'll give you an
guys.
example, right? We had the dairy here, right?
Yep.
And we had any number of people coming into the shop, young kids, older people. And I remember in the early days, like a 7 or 8-year-old kid coming in and actually not knowing if he has the right amount of change. To
Right.
give an example, he's buying $1.50 with the lollies and he's got a $2 coin. And this 8-year-old kid does not know if it's got the right amount of money. He already has $2. He should be getting 50 cents in change.
Yeah.
To go back to where when I was growing up in India, by age 6, I was bringing groceries home. Mum would give me 50 rupees or whatever it was. She would say, I'll go down to the shop, it's 45, and the guy will give you 5 change. And I guess it's a bit different here. I don't want to.
It's programmed into you guys.
It is. I mean, how did we change that here? I don't know. It's.
Well, I feel Kiwis have a really chill mentality, just too relaxed.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that both sides can learn from each other, right?
Oh, 100%.
So Kiwis are too chill.
Yeah.
They need to learn to have a better work ethic.
Yeah.
And Indians need to learn to relax.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Because you guys work relentlessly, man.
Yeah. There's a happy medium, I think, for both to be had.
Yeah.
But, like the Kiwi mentality, it's admired all over the place. It's like, it'd be all right, and it is all right, unless you're just sitting at your house and hoping for the best. But it's fine. I mean, I come across my own kids now, and coincidentally, they are 6 and 8, and no, they do not go down to the supermarket and buy anything. They don't.
Have you told them to do that?
No, we haven't. So it shows you.
Yeah. It shows that you've adapted the Kiwi mentality in some ways.
Within a generation, it's gone.
Yeah.
That sort of cash register and the calculator in your brain.
Yeah.
Where they don't have any money in their hand. While we drive them everywhere. They don't walk down to the shops as such.
Really?
Well, where we live in Rototuna, there's nowhere to walk down to.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I miss sometimes, having brought up a little bit in Linsdale and being in other parts of Hamilton when I drive around. Being in the northern suburbs, it is quite sort of segmented. You do your own thing. We're here, even just walking down the street here.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the shopping center just there.
Yeah.
You got this other shops, you got fruit and veg and all that kind of stuff. So everything's quite close. When Rototuna, it just feels a bit divided, you just sort of...
Yeah. I think they're working on some mall or something there.
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah. There's a couple coming up, I think.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
That is understandable. But do you find that you've changed as a person since being here?
In New Zealand?
Yeah. Like, has it changed you much? Like, every time you go back to India, are they like, what happened to you?
No, not really, because, it's very hard to compare the two things. I left there as
they're very, very different.
Yeah. When I was there as a 17-year-old, I obviously didn't work there. But this is a question someone else asked me a while ago. If I was a grown 35-year-old man in India, would I be working for myself or how my life would be? I think my life would be very different. I would have people working for me. You in India, it's funny, there's a guy for everything or a lady,
Yeah, I remember going to a restaurant, I think, in Mumbai.
Yeah.
And I went to the toilet and there was a dude just standing there while I was peeing. And I'm like, yo, man, what are you doing? And he was there just to hand me like a little towel to clean my hands.
Yeah.
And after the first time and every time after that, I was like, oh, okay, this is just their thing. But the first time I thought he was just some...
So
he was just really interested in me.
I'll give you a small example of things that make me feel uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
Either the last trip I went to New Delhi, to the massive new airport now, and this guy in the toilets at the airport, there's many toilets.
Yeah.
He's cleaning the toilet seat after every user. Like, he's going in there.
Yes, I saw that as well.
And he's doing it for a tip, which is fine. I'm happy to tip him, You give him 100 rupee, that's $2, which is nothing to us.
Yeah.
It's a lot for that guy.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's just, you compare that to here, it's very different. Completely different. We don't expect anyone to be cleaning the toilet continuously. I guess it gets cleaned.
I sometimes feel we have a sense of entitlement here, though.
No, I disagree. I think it's different. It's in India. The sense of entitlement is high.
In terms of what? From the community or the family?
No, from the status,
Yes, I do agree in that.
And you would have seen that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mate, it's all about status. People are power hungry.
Yeah, why is that?
I think it's just in there, man. I think the British were there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think they tried hard to... It's funny, I read a bunch of blogs about it. And the question, do you go on Cura much?
Yes.
So I go on Cura quite a lot. I'll be eating my dinner just reading a random question. And this guy had asked a question, if the caste system or the hierarchy thing in India was brought in by the Muslim rulers or the British, or was it always there in the past? And there's a whole bunch of these very intelligent people answering the question saying it was always there.
Yeah.
Like you always had kings and queens.
Yeah.
So it was never a true democracy at any stage.
Right.
Where till when the British left, now it has become a democracy of sorts, but it's still quite a hierarchy thing. They say it's a democracy, but it's manipulated.
There's still a bit of division though between different classes in India.
Oh yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it's massive, mate. It's.
I wonder what would be the way of fixing that.
I don't know. I mean,
because here's the thing. This is what I personally feel. Just from being with an Indian and going there and stuff, I think India has the potential to be, the biggest superpower in the world if it just sorts all that stuff out. Yeah. The status and the class system and the different divisions between.
But the way I look at it, you go to India and it's like doing a podcast, right? Like imagine if you and I were just doing this podcast, sitting at a train station right now, and you just look at people's faces.
Yeah.
People are very happy.
They are.
So happy with so little. They're over here, being here for 18 and a half years. People are always angry. They're always asking for more. They're over there. People are making it do with very little. Traveling up to 2 hours to work each morning.
But that's all they know, right? So that's probably part of the reason. Like, if that's all you know, then you don't know any different. But once you have the ability to compare something, I'll give you an example. Sure. I'm originally from Auckland, right? Yeah. So I grew up with Auckland traffic. Now, as time went on, Auckland traffic got worse. So then I had a comparison, right? And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. Then I moved down here. Now, since living here, every time I go back to Auckland, the traffic infuriates me so much more than it used to because I've adapted to a different way of life where I don't have to deal with it. So as of now, I don't have any tolerance for traffic. Yeah.
So like for me, having learned to drive in New Delhi traffic, which is a life and death situation, you're driving for driving for survival. But coming to Hamilton then, and Hamilton was very different in 2001.
How so?
In my opinion, it was half the size.
Yep.
I think at the time they used to say, 80 to 100,000 people in Hamilton and around Hamilton. The northern suburbs did not exist.
I heard that, yeah.
And the suburb you're in has been infilled quite a bit. The section with 1,100 square meter has 5 units. So... but also to give an example, because I live in Rototuna, and when we had the store in Dinsdale, I could get to Huntley a lot quicker than my brother could just get across town, and it progressively got bad, from really bad to very, very bad. Where the problem in Hamilton was the 5 or 6 bridges as well. The traffic just couldn't bridges on there.
Congested.
And I don't want to get into the whole planning thing. I can give you some tips around it.
There is a guy who's meant to be coming on here, Ian White. He's a professor in environmental planning. He's supposed to come on here at some point, so maybe I'll ask him about it.
My dad, his background was in engineering and construction and town planning, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
And, he's a 69-year-old tired old man.
Has he been here?
He's here. So we moved here as a family.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so he must be complaining about...
Mate, he just looks at this like, what? This is not infrastructure. This is just madness. And one thing I've noticed in my time here is where in India, where you got the corruption, where the government gives you the money to build this bridge, and that take a very long time to slow it down, to keep adding to the budget or whatever. But what we notice here, and my dad will give you some good comments on it, is we build them quickly, but we build them really crap, very small, not forward thinking, and then we smash it up and then rebuild, which ends up costing significantly more. And
Really? That's interesting.
Mate, within Hamilton, I can give you several examples, and I guess that comes from having been raised in a city with several million people versus Hamilton's only 100,000.
So why did you move here as opposed to, say, Auckland or Wellington?
I think it was a couple of things. We had family here.
Oh, already here in Hamilton.
Established in Hamilton. And I've always been in Hamilton. So it was a bit easy, but also I'm guessing, sort of thinking back to time, my parents were not interested in Auckland. Because having come from a big city to another big city.
It's like, why move then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why not Wellington?
I don't think they ever considered it.
Yeah?
I think in the first couple of years it didn't exist. And South Island definitely didn't exist. We never went down.
You've only got Christchurch, really.
Yeah, we never went down there. It was just Auckland talked about Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of Tauranga was mentioned.
Right.
But it was just very Auckland and Hamilton thing. Yeah.
Well, I think as time goes on, I think Hamilton and the Waikato will play a big part in terms of the growth of the country.
Oh, yeah.
Just from the various politicians that I've talked to and just from media, it seems that they're really focusing on Auckland, Waikato, and Bad Plenty.
Yeah.
So,
I think in terms of connectivity, it's quite important.
Yeah.
I don't think in your and my lifetime we're going to end up with
No.
amazing.
We'll be dead on this. There's some immortality pill or something.
Yeah. But the point I was going to make is I don't think in your and my time we're going to have some magic public transportation bullet that will just be shot.
Well, I did have Jamie Strange on here.
Yeah. I know
He's
Jamie.
Labour MP. And we had a in-depth discussion about high-speed rail. So they're doing a business case. And by high-speed rail, we're talking an hour from Hamilton CBD to Auckland CBD. Now, that's obviously nothing compared to, say, China or Japan, but it's still better than nothing. And they said that, he said that it might take 5 years to build. So that would be in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely use it if I needed to go to Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, through 8pm, I'm in Auckland quite a bit.
Last
week I was there 3 days a week, but I only stayed one night.
Right.
Because I had appointments here in the morning.
Okay.
And the 2 times I drove back at about 11 at night, I was just, if a train was an option, I would happily jumped on one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because driving.
You've been to Mumbai, right?
Yes.
So here's an analogy for you. The biggest problem we're always going to have in New Zealand is you've got there quickly. How are you going to move on to the second or third part of your journey? Where in India, you come off a train station or a bus, you got a rickshaw, you got an auto, all those people, they will help you finish the rest of the journey.
Yeah.
But even if I got to Auckland CBD, relatively quickly, and I need to get onto North Shore now or somewhere else, then I still have to pay the taxi or the Uber. So you can't just build one line and then...
Yeah. I think the problem with Auckland as well is it sits on an isthmus. So it's got 2 harbours, right? Which makes it geographically challenged in terms of building. And to be honest, they just built it all wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure your dad would probably have something to say about that as well. So the public transport is all backwards and it's all weird, and now they're trying to fix it. Apparently in the 60s, they wanted to build an underground subway, but they're no, it's too expensive.
Wow. Yeah. So
because New Zealand is one of the most car-related, reliable countries in the world, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. People come, I mean, I don't know how many times I've had Indians say to me, yo, man, what's up with your public transport? It sucks, yeah.
But I'll give you a small example, like in New Delhi.
Yeah.
Very populated, very polluted. It was quite inspiring to see on my last trip, and I think I noticed it before as well. You know how in New Zealand, because train and other stuff is not as reliable for us, it doesn't go everywhere, so we rely on trucks.
Yeah.
But in New Delhi, you can only bring your trucks into the city between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 in the morning.
So it's because of pollution, right?
Yeah. And traffic flow. So,
right.
So quite often when I'm driving that highway, especially daytime, the amount of trucks you see, all those container trucks all day. So there's ways you can take congestion away by bringing a law in.
Is there a peak hour in Delhi, or is it just always peak hour?
Mate, I challenge you to go at 2 a.m. to the airport, and as National State Highway 1 runs past it, you will feel like it's the middle of the day. There's no gap between the cars. It just continues. But you know how you said earlier about you don't know until you know something different?
Yeah.
But, one way to challenge the status quo and say, hey, look, none of the B trains, none of the container trucks can be driven on Auckland motorway between the hours. Now you take some congestion out and obviously start creating some work for nighttime because those motorways are sitting silent at night. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
So there's ways to think of it, but it's not up to you and me to make those decisions.
That's right.
You know,
That's why I want to get some politicians on here.
Yeah, do, man. You know?
Yeah.
But trouble is, man, dare I say, these guys don't know better either. Because, again, they know what they know, which is from here. Maybe we need to send some of these guys to...
Well, I wonder how many of them have actually gone overseas. I know Jacinda and Winston Peters, they obviously have dealings with, various politicians overseas, and they sometimes have to go there. So they would get an idea, I'm sure.
Of how...
But yeah, it actually surprises me how many Kiwis I know who haven't been overseas. Or if they have been overseas, they've only been to Australia. And just Australia gives a bit of a distorted reality as well.
Australia is just a little bit bigger. There's not
it's New Zealand on steroids.
Yeah.
And with creatures that can kill you and a worse accent.
Yeah. But like having been to Noosa for a family holiday 6-8 weeks ago, my wife actually said, she's like, it's just... And she's been before.
Yep.
She's like, it's just like New Zealand. It's the same stores, And she actually kept saying, it's like, wow. So all of these big brand stores are from Australia. They just moved them here, or they're American anyway. Yeah.
So are there certain things that you appreciate about New Zealand?
Mate, there's many, right? There's many. No one's trying to kill me. Where even as a child growing up in New Delhi, there would have been many incidents of terrorist attacks.
Well, yeah, I know the history between the Hindus and the Muslims, and I think my partner was actually in India during the the Mumbai attack.
Yeah, so I flew into India while it was going on. I think it was my cousin's wedding, and my family begged me. I didn't fly into Mumbai. I flew into New Delhi for a wedding.
Okay,
but it was still ongoing when the Mumbai attack was going on, and I remember landing in New Delhi airport and it took 4 hours for our luggage to come out because they were checking everyone's bags again and again or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, fair enough. Would that be the equivalent of America's 9/11, that attack in India?
I think India,
in terms of how it shocked the country, but I suppose there's been a lot of terrorist attacks there. So I think
there's been so many. I wonder. I probably wouldn't be the right person to comment on it.
Yeah,
it's big, but there's been many. I mean, the recent one was when they blew up 2 buses full of army men. That's shocking, man. It's like for us as Kiwis, very hard to comprehend. But it seems like they've moved on from it. Very, very different. And obviously, we can't live in our innocence anymore. Since what happened in Christchurch, it's kind of like gone from happy days to holy shit. It's just gone to a whole different level.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that changed the whole game. What's interesting is the day of the shooting. My partner and I were going to go to the cinemas to watch that Hotel Mumbai movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie. Yeah.
Which is, obviously we ended up watching it later, which was, I was infuriated as I was watching the movie. It's a good movie. I do recommend watching it.
Hotel Mumbai. Nice.
Yeah, so that's about the terrorist attack on the...
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
And it's really, really good.
Right.
But yeah, it'll make you infuriated. And so, we decided not to go. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't go because it was just...
So were you guys in Christchurch?
No. We were here. We were just going to go watch the movie.
Sure.
But, I saw the live video of the Christchurch shooting.
Yeah, I saw it too, unfortunately.
Yeah. At first, I was like, what is this? Is this some parody thing?
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was. And then...
took a while to kick in. Actually, that's real. Yeah.
It shows how entertainment and real life is blurring. The line is blurring.
Yeah. Like, I know we're not supposed to be sharing the video, but there's a particular part, there's a lady cuddling a girl.
Yep.
And in the video, I could tell they're dead. And that's when it kicked in for me. And I was in Huntley that day. And I started crying uncontrollably. I was like, I think this is like, I don't know who was in the show. I don't remember. Like, I think this is for real. Do we ring someone? Like seriously, what's going on? And I guess the whole country went through it. And unfortunately, the gentleman in question succeeded in terms of the terror is not, and that's what they do in India as well. It's the propaganda is just as much part of the moment. Continuously keep sharing about it and all that kind of stuff. And I guess the sage gentleman succeeded in that, getting it into our heads, the making us feel scared. Yeah,
I do think the response from Kiwis was very well done, and I think Jacinda handled it pretty well in terms of compared to some politicians. I would imagine they would handle it much differently.
Yeah, I think being a mother, and a lady, she was much better equipped to
Yes.
show the compassion.
Yep.
You know, money doesn't solve things.
No.
You know, money's not the answer, because I think that's where they're going back wrong in India. And one of the biggest problems in India is you got all these testosterone-driven politicians, males.
Do you like Modi?
Modi, I have my moments with him.
It's interesting because I talk to some people and they either love him or they hate him.
Nah.
I went to some kebab shop the other day with my partner, and then he immediately realized that she was Indian.
Right.
And then he asked her, "Oh, do you like Modi?" And then she was like, "Eh." And then he asked me, he's like, "Do you know who Modi is?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know who Modi is." And then he went on this huge rant about Modi.
Yeah.
And like customers were coming in and he wasn't even serving them. He was just going on this rant. I'm like, dude.
Positive or negative?
Nah, negative.
Yeah. So I can give you some examples. So it's quite ironic, all the work he's achieving because he is in position of power. It's quite like Jacinda, you know, there's dreams and hopes she has, but she is in a coalition government, so her hands strangle sometimes. But Modi finds himself in this amazing position of being second term unanimously in Parliament.
And he won by a massive majority.
Yeah, which is quite unique. But what is not talked about now, even 10, 15 years ago, he was not allowed to go into US because he was allegedly involved in a lot of riots, Hindu-Muslim riots.
Yeah, because a lot of people blame him for some of the, terrorist attacks and dividing.
Yeah, not taking action, basically.
Yeah, dividing Muslims and Hindus,
I think
whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Insane. But what I get out of it is he didn't instigate any of it.
Yeah.
He just did nothing to stop it. That's what is talked about.
Right.
And he or his political party might have benefited from that. Mm-hmm. What a lot of people don't understand is India has world's biggest Muslim population for a country.
Yes. A lot of people don't realize that, even though that they are the minority in India.
Yeah.
Because India is massive.
Less than 20% of the population.
Oh, I've heard some of his speeches where he's like, India first.
Yeah. So Modi comes from...
Hindus first. Yeah,
Hindu first. So political party that backs, or the machine that backs Modi, is very hardcore Hindu-driven mentality, which quite rightfully, it's 600-700 million people there, which makes them bigger than some of the... quite a lot of other religions or sections of society all over the world.
Yeah, because India is still very, very religious compared to some other countries.
Yeah. I mean, it's religion-driven, right?
Yeah.
How to say?
Are you very religious?
On occasion.
On occasion? What does that mean?
But let me just finish that. Like in India, they say, I think it says cricket, religion, and politics.
Yeah, man.
But it's up to you which way, which way you do it. Cricket's massive, religion and politics, because everyone has an opinion. And that shows you, man, democracy. You got India in the middle. You got Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, countries where you can't raise your voice. You will disappear.
Yeah.
You look at China, but in India, still to this day, you can raise your voice.
Which is one of the good things. Yeah.
Might not go anywhere. You'll probably need a few million around you to let people that you make notice. There's been guys who've achieved that. But you can still raise your voice and you will be heard. Or you will not be persecuted for it indirectly. Where, mate, I could name 20 countries all around India, big or small.
Because a lot of those countries, from what I understand, is they used to be part of India. So Bangladesh used to be East Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was West Pakistan and East Pakistan, and then West Pakistan became Pakistan, and East Pakistan became Bangladesh.
When the division happened, Pakistan and there was East and West Pakistan.
Yep.
And then East Pakistan, which is, say, Bangladesh now, weren't happy. So I think India helped them basically get rid of Pakistan.
Yep.
And then that became Bangladesh, which was in 70s. Yeah. Can I tell you something real quick? You'll find this very interesting.
Yeah.
So either the last trip I was in India or the one before, my visa to stay in India expired. I was there.
Oh, really?
I was there on a 28-day visa and I overstayed it.
So are you a citizen?
Yeah, I'm a citizen here.
Nice.
So I'm there, right? I'm on my Kiwi passport. And my big plan was to just turn up at the airport with $100 note or whatever with my passport, and I'll just, I'll just pay a bribe and I'll leave.
I've heard that's a huge thing, eh?
But my father was like, no, you can't do that. Like, you're thinking of 60s and 70s. They will arrest you. Then I spent, and I don't want to take over your podcast, but I could give you a 7-hour podcast on how I was stuck for 35 days in India just to get an exit visa to leave the country safely. without, turning up at the airport and having no visa days left.
Yeah.
And one of the critical moments during that 35 days was I sat across the table from a gentleman. He was interviewing me, and I said to him, I don't know why you are persecuting me. I'm one of you. And he goes, you're not one of us. You're a Kiwi. You're from New Zealand. You're not an Indian anymore. And I right now can't tell if you're an Indian or an ex-Indian, or you're from Pakistan, or you're from Afghanistan, or you're from Bangladesh. Or,
what the hell?
I know. From any number of these countries, you could be a spy. So we need to identify you're not a threat and you are who this person that.
I mean, I guess I understand why they do that, because they want to protect
and
the security of the country, which is fair enough.
But he went on a great length to explain to me how anyone who does not have a job in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, ends up in India, which is kind of like, Indians want to leave India and go to New Zealand, Australia, Canada, States, whatever. But people in some of these smaller countries or smaller economies want to end up in India and sort of just mix into the crowd, get a job and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of understood what he means. And, we have...
Because I imagine you'd still have extended family.
Oh, yeah. So what got me out in the end, sorry to close the story, is Mum had some of our passports from when we first came here.
Right.
So we presented that, case closed, stamp, get out of here. So,
I had it pretty straightforward when I went through immigration.
Yeah.
But my partner said, "Oh, you're white, so you'll be fine." I'm like, "What does that mean?" So I didn't have any problems. But it was still an interesting experience.
Yeah. But it's I mean, there's part of me that wants to go back to India now. But like I said, I'm in my own self-imposed 10-year hiatus from it, and I've only got to 5 now, which has been brilliant for me, man. There's places I've visited, and literally my work now with whiskey, that was a critical moment for me where my wife...
Because you've done well for yourself.
Mate, it's growing.
Yeah.
But January of last month, my wife, for first time by herself, took the 2 kids to India, and I didn't go with her, and that was very...
Oh, because were they born here?
Yeah.
So how did they find that?
They found it well. They were a bit older now.
Yeah.
They had been prior.
Right.
But they were much younger, so this was a good trip.
Yeah.
But for me, as talking about culture and expectations...
I think it's important, though.
Yeah.
That they learn where they're from and their culture.
But I say to her, look, you need to go do this, but in March, 2 months later, I need to go to Scotland. I want to go learn this stuff. I know it's going to look like a lot of fun, and talking about whiskey, drinking whiskey, posting on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook all day. It looks like a lot of fun, but it still is work.
Yeah.
It makes me money.
Yeah. So when you say learning in Scotland, what did you learn exactly? Can you be a bit specific in terms of
sure.
the skills you learned in terms of making whiskey? Because I imagine there is an art to it.
Yeah.
Right?
So I had a critical question in my head directly before that trip.
Yep.
And I had to answer it for myself a little bit before that, as why someone should spend any more than $100 on a bottle of whiskey.
What's the answer?
Well, because at that time I had tried so many whiskeys, well at $100, that wowed me. But when I got there, I started to learn quite a lot more about the art of making whiskey. But the real art also lies in aging whiskey. What kind of cask you're going to age it in, how long you're going to age it for, what ABV, alcohol quantity, you're going to release it at. Those sort of things start to determine the quality, but also rarity of the whiskey significantly. To give an example, there's some limited edition bottle that comes out, and now I have a deep knowledge of cask types, cask size. I'll say to my clients, hey, look, this is super rare. It's $200 bottle. Here's the reasons. And it's a 15,000 bottle release. And they go, that's quite a lot. Like, it's not really. There's 7 billion of us. I know not everyone necessarily spending $200 on a bottle of whiskey, but the 15,000 bottles, it's nothing. Once you sort of explain to them how the flavor changes, and a lot of that is not going to happen until you slow down the process and try stuff side by side.
So how much testing do you do? Because you must have to try a lot of different whiskies.
Yeah.
And be like, no, too much in that. And so would you have like a wine glasses, a whole line of them? And then No? So how do you go about testing this stuff?
So for me...
So do you do it on your own, or do you have a group with you?
No. So I'm one of the most selfish whiskey drinkers in the history of mankind, where, and I quite enjoy being in your room right now, where I need peace and quiet to be able to be with the whiskey, if I'm going to understand it, because I'm drinking for flavors and smells.
You view it like a sense of meditation?
I wouldn't associate that with it.
Yeah.
But a sense of relaxation.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's funny, this morning I told you I was speaking to a bunch of business owners
Yeah.
and leaders, and I was saying to them, A, I drink whiskey for flavors and smells, but B, it's very hard for me to go and put that mindset into all of my customers. Some of them get it, but the whole Kiwi culture of just drinking stuff way too fast, it's very, very hard. And I did a video on LinkedIn about it as well, where for me, quite often, I only need 5 or 7 mils of a whiskey to be able to understand the flavors and smells. And within that, I'll go back to a couple of times. But in Kiwi culture, you put 15 mil, 30 mil shot in front of someone, they'll knock it back and then they just...
Dude, I'm really bad when it comes to alcohol. I mean, I don't drink it that much, but it's because I eat really fast and I drink really fast.
Right.
And so sometimes I drink alcohol like it's Coke or water.
Yeah.
So I'm just like...
Gone.
I mean, I had some wine recently at my brother's house and I drank it way too fast. And I was like, oh, that was a dumb idea. Because I don't even realize I'm doing it. That's the thing. Yeah. Because you can't drink wine like that. It's not supposed to be consumed like that.
Yeah. So I'll give you a small example of how a good high quality whiskey drinker's mindset is, which I like to think I am.
Okay.
So yesterday, 12-hour workday.
Yep.
Got home at 7:30, put the kids to sleep, tell them some story about, because all my stories start with, once upon a time there was a village called Hamilton. They've called me out on that. Is there any more villages there? Just Hamilton? But then had to do some work on the laptop.
Yep.
And then record a couple of whiskey reviews. But that's only when I got to try a couple of sips of whiskey. They were good high quality whiskeys, but I could try them. I could write a little bit about them.
Yeah.
But that's all you really need. When I do the tastings in group environment, I struggle to get people's attention. But I'll very quickly identify 5 or 10 people in the group who want to learn more.
How do you tell?
They'll ask questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think people have short attention spans these days.
Yeah. And the other problem is I can quite easily tell who are going to be the problem makers, because they're going to start with saying, is that all the whiskey we're going to get today? But also, they'll be the first people who'll be literally on the floor by the end of the evening because they're drinking.
Well, that's good. You're like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, craft beer and this and that. And then, it's affecting them because some of these whiskeys and the whiskeys I talk to are very high in ABV as well. 50%, 60% at cask strength and all that kind of stuff. So does affect people. You got to respect it. You got to slow the process down.
Yeah.
I guess the whole Kiwi mentality, and mate, I ran a liquor store in Huntley for 15 years. I still do. That 4% beer mentality, I can just keep peeling a 24-pack, 12-pack.
I don't know why. We're a binge drinking culture.
Yeah.
It's real weird, man.
It's going away slowly. I'm seeing changes. Trust me.
Are you? Yeah, because I think I had another guest on here, and he has a lot of involvement with the youth, and he says we like to celebrate in New Zealand, but we don't like to deal with our problems.
Right.
And I think sometimes we use substances as a way to mask the problem or deal with it.
Yeah. Can I give you an analogy for that?
Yep.
So having been here since I was 17,
Yep.
Waikato uni party like this, no, tomorrow. Party from Thursday to Saturday morning or Sunday morning. It's just like one continuous party, going to people's garages. I played cricket for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of garage parties. But the point I want to make is you compare that, or people of any age, the Kiwi culture of starting the barbie at 5 and going till 11 at night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where the Indian party, where a group of men or ladies are getting together, it's a very short window. They'll get together at 8, they'll have 4 or 5 whiskeys, done. Dinner, go home, because they're only catching up for that short period of time. And I think that's where somehow...
Indians don't binge drink, though, do they?
Oh, mate, they do.
They do?
You'd be shocked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen some big problem drinkers in my time. Yeah, real
interesting.
Big. But also, if you're going to drink whiskey and some of those harder drinks, you're not going to last from 5 p.m. to 1 in the morning. You'll be on the floor by 5:45. So there's a difference. And it just shows Indians are enjoying their drink as well. They're having a good time. They're having a hangover in the morning to be proud of and all that kind of stuff. But it's just shared in a different way. Where the Kiwi mentality is, we start at about 5, nice summer days, or if it's winter, we're inside in front of the fire. but we need to make it last. So I think the beer and the wine kicks in quite well. But I believe you end up drinking significantly more that way, which people like me profit from, if you're buying from the shops.
So you also sell vodka and craft beer and all that stuff as well?
So there's a different journey. In the shops, we sell everything.
Okay.
On 8PM, it's not just whiskey. We have vodkas and rums and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because I'm so vocal about
Whiskey.
it, just dominates the whole space.
Okay, so your biggest sales are in whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I've done is 2 weeks ago, I haven't acted it on fully. I've registered a domain name in my own name, ashparmar.co.nz, where I would like to start blogging about whiskey and my journey around it, people I meet, people I want to interview, and start posting that on there. So 8PM can go and just be a retailer.
Why did you call it 8 p.m.? Is that what time you go to sleep?
No. The idea in my head was, again, that Kiwi mentality.
Right.
You come home at 5 or you go to the pub, you have a beer or you have a wine with your meal.
Yeah.
But at 8PM, you drink something quality. If that's sort of,
right.
Yeah, like a spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. Do people ask you about that all the time?
Quite a bit. It's on the website.
Yeah, 8 p.m.
We'll put it into the about page.
Oh, yes. I did see that. Yes.
So, but I'm never home at 8 p.m. I'm not home at 9. Sometimes I'm home at 1 a.m.
Does your wife joke about it? Make jokes with you about it? Hey. Because that's the original reason why you came up with it. Because how busy are you? I imagine you'd be very, very busy.
Mate, beyond busy.
So how do you balance business with family life?
I think the balance
being an Indian,
where
it's programmed in you guys to work relentlessly.
Yeah, I think,
and then make Kiwis feel bad because we don't work that hard.
Now the balance is definitely beyond poor. I think I wouldn't hide that.
Wives have a way of letting you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, but with me, my wife sees my method to this madness where I'm trying to get out of the liquor store mentality into this, and any number of doors are opening for me right now because of 8 p.m. Speaking, hosting functions, selling high quality product to some incredibly wealthy people, but that requires a lot of networking, and I still believe in one-on-one networking.
Networking is key, particularly in New Zealand, because New Zealand is a village.
Oh, right? Mate. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be burning bridges, and everybody knows everybody, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I ended up in situations where, like last week, I went to 3 functions in Auckland.
Yeah.
And I walked in the room, and I had a dozen people come up to me and say, "You're the whiskey guy," because they see me on LinkedIn predominantly.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is good. That means the word's getting out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know of a word called omnipresence.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did a very expensive mindset course in the Gold Coast. And the only thing I got out of it was how to be, or the importance of being omnipresent, where you're not anywhere, but you are everywhere.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people see my energy and go, wow, this guy's just on the go. Quite often I'm sharing something I've already done. But that Kiwi mentality again, of...
well, here's the thing. Because of your work ethic, you're going to have an advantage over a lot of people.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's how I view it. I mean, if you work harder than the guy next to you, then of course you're going to be more successful, right?
Yeah. But also, there's such a thing as being strategic, which I'm learning now.
Work smarter, not harder.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Where, I'm saying a lot of yes to any number of situations right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll come to this, or I'll come hang out with you at this, or speak to you about this, or whatever. But I guess as time's progressing, I'm becoming a little bit more exclusive with my time, putting value on it.
So how often do you approach people as opposed to people approaching you?
The scale's tipping signigetly now. People are approaching me.
Oh, wow.
So I'll give you a small example. Yesterday, a corporate client asked me if he bought a couple of these very expensive gifts for a client who would probably not know necessarily what these really particular very expensive bottles are. Would I, for a small fee, record a private video just for them, explaining to them what the whiskey is? And I thought about it. I was like, I've never had that request.
Yeah.
And I went back to the guy and I said, would you pay me to do this? And I was like, yeah, I'll pay you to do that, because I'm already spending $300, $350. I think you can charge for your time. I don't want the video to be very long, just a couple of minutes. And I've recorded the video last night and uploaded it to show him this is what I'm thinking. First time I've done something like that. I've done whiskey reviews, obviously, they're on YouTube.
Yeah.
But first time I've recorded like just a private video, and the guy texted me this morning. He was blown away by it. He thought it's quite good and something I should work on, not for everyday people, but in that corporate space.
Yeah,
Where,
that's actually a really good idea.
yeah, you're getting a bottle and then there's like a, like who is the guy, hit play, the message will self-destroy.
Oh, yeah. I like one of those Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, there you go, yeah. Tom
things.
Cruise.
Yep,
yeah,
Tom Cruise, yep.
Yeah. So, and that's why I'm going to any number of these networking things, man, with an open mind, where I've made a ton of money being in the shop, but a very closed mindset. You are in the shop. There's not a lot you can grow from there.
Yeah.
But because of 8PM, I'm literally traveling the country. I think we weren't connected back in July when I did my nationwide whiskey tour. And that was spur of the moment. There was no method to it.
Yep.
I just saw someone who had done one in UK. I was like, that'd be quite cool. Just put a whole heap of tastings on. Not looking for sales, but just to get the word
I saw
out.
that and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
So I ended up doing, I think, 18, 19 tastings all over the country. Which, again, it shows you the Indian mentality, man. I'm happy to put my hours into it.
Well, you're passionate about it too.
Yeah.
So that makes it easy.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that you actually hate,
Yeah.
then it makes it a bit harder.
What I hate is being in Huntley right now, where I have to go to after this. But it's a job. I'll still do it. That's...
Well, Huntley's the hood, man.
Yeah. But I think that's that Kiwi mentality where I still come across situations where people are expecting a return even before taking an action. Where I'm a firm believer in taking imperfect action, and the reward will come later.
Well, business is always a risk too, right?
It is, man.
Yeah.
You got to take action.
It's, in some ways, I guess you could say it's a gamble.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know 100% whether something's going to work.
Yeah.
You can research and look into it as much as you can, but you really don't know what's going to happen until you actually do it.
But there's competition as well. You're not the only one with that same idea.
That's right.
You're not special. No, I'm not special. You're not special. No one is special.
But the world teaches you, you are special. And it's like, no,
I'm
you're not,
not.
man.
Yeah.
You really aren't. The world will chew you up and spit you out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're being in Huntley, I sort of see a lot of these kids, quite often they end up leaving Huntley. I think that's where their real journey starts because there's no jobs in Huntley. There's not a lot.
No.
It's a very small place,
No, and I think a lot of people who live in Huntley, I know Aucklanders that live in Huntley and commute to Auckland for work. And
They do.
Well, that's crazy. But and some live in Huntley and commute to Hamilton as well. But
They do.
Yeah.
Well, I've been commuting from Hamilton to Huntley for 15 years now.
That's not that far, though.
It's
only like
nothing,
15,
mate.
20 minutes.
Like,
And you're from New Delhi, man.
From New Delhi. It's like, I remember like my dad used to drive my mum to the bank.
Yep.
And can you imagine like the Frankton Bridge? Just on this side of the BP.
Yeah.
Imagine being on top of it and being able to see the red light.
Yeah.
Right, it's a much bigger bridge. But you see the light go green, red, like 10 times, but the traffic hasn't moved. Because traffic has nowhere to go, even when it goes green, because directly after it, there's another 1,000 cars, and then after it just moves so slowly. This is my memories from growing up in New Delhi. But compared to now, I think traffic flows very well in Delhi. They've made a lot of changes.
Okay.
They've literally built a bridge over every...
Like a flyover.
Yeah. But also...
They need a few of those in Auckland, to be fair.
One thing I saw which was quite good was the U-turn. You don't have to make a right-hand turn at the lights because that's what slows the traffic down. If you can run traffic in a straight line, even if you slow it down, it keeps moving. But when you stop it, that's when hell breaks loose.
Right.
So what I saw in New Delhi, I don't know if we can do it here, our roads are not big enough, is they'll make you do a U-turn 3 Ks down the road. So you sort of merge back in the road and then you end up taking a left turn.
Yeah.
Instead of taking a directly right turn, slowing the... But different scales, man.
Yeah.
City
I mean, and I'm no environmental planner, so...
Same, man. Yeah. I don't
we
think
can theorize, but
what
do we actually know?
We know nothing.
Yeah.
And
it's like people who comment on politics, but they don't actually know what the hell they're talking about, myself included.
Yeah, I do as well. And I dig a big hole for myself every time. I think I dug a hole for myself a couple of days ago by... what did I post? Oh, I forget now. I always dig a hole. Yeah. What else would you like to know?
Well, why don't you show me some of your whiskey? Because you got 2 whiskeys here.
So this is a real spur of the moment.
Hold it up to the camera.
Oh, is that the camera I'm on?
This one. The second one here. Yeah.
Yep.
So what's that one?
So that's a Japanese whiskey. Hibiki.
Japanese whiskey. Yeah. Did you develop it in Japan?
So I was quite lucky to go to Japan on a corporate trip through the shops.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's the best.
Yeah.
You have to
I've heard that the country and the beauty is similar to here. Yeah.
A country of our size and beauty, much cleaner than us. Like, take my word on it.
Yeah.
But how much? Like 30 times our population and the second biggest economy in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Mate,
I've heard their work ethic is insane though.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Indians have nothing on Japanese.
Yeah.
Like Indians are the lazy ones compared to them. But you know, the Japanese mindset is very much that taking great actions. You know, you don't have to work hard to get ahead.
Well, I've heard, because I have a friend who used to teach English in Japan, and she said that it was common in workplaces for people, even if they finish all their work, they won't leave until the boss leaves.
Yeah.
And if you leave early or on time, it's actually frowned upon.
Yeah.
So everybody just stays there until the boss leaves, which seems ridiculous.
It's just, And I think that respect thing, like you notice little things in life, right? So we're on this corporate trip and we're staying at one of the best hotels in Tokyo, which is ridiculously expensive. Like I think it was $800 a night for just a normal hotel room. And you'll go there on the bus. But as the bus will pull away, the concierge or the guy who loads the bus with the buses, he bows down to every bus. Everyone's in the bus. No one's looking at him. The driver's not looking at him, but he still does it. It's that respect thing, you know, the guest is leaving.
Yeah.
You know,
because I know in India, so this is part of Hinduism, isn't it? That the guest is God.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it would probably be a similar thing in Japan.
Yeah. But, you know, if you look at India and Japan, man, in terms of cleanliness...
They'd be on a completely different
You'll
levels.
have to lift me out my hand for Japan. Will have to like go through the roof, and India would be like through the floor. But it's a community thing, right? No one in India is telling the people to come and dirty the place up. It's just in the mindset. But also, it's the government's fault as well. You know, like you go around New Delhi, you don't see proper bins. That you know, like in New Zealand, if we don't see a bin for, I don't know, however long period of time, we go, whoa, there's no rubbish bin. What's going on?
Yeah.
But in India, it's quite different. There's a distinct lack of them.
Yeah, well, I remember, because I was there during Diwali.
Right.
And, dude, the next day,
just
fireworks everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, is anyone going to clean this up? And my partner's like, nope,
but
nobody cleans it up. I'm like, what?
In Japan, you go to the train station, and you got 1 million people moving around every hour.
Oh, I've seen the videos online of that, eh?
No rubbish bin.
They like push you into the train.
But again, no rubbish bins, because the Japanese mentality is you've just bought a pie and a drink, finish eating it at the shop where there is a bin.
Yep.
You know, like here we just move around with our McDonald's.
Sometimes we'll just chuck stuff on the ground.
Yeah. Very different there. And sometimes you find it quite awkward. You're like, what do I do with this? You know, I'm just got a cup and I just keep
So can you speak a little bit of Japanese?
Oh, no.
No. So how did you communicate with people when you were there? Did you have a translator?
No. So the corporate trip, which was 6 days, was fully guided. And the 4 days I did by myself to go visit 2 whiskey distilleries.
Was this in Tokyo?
Well out of Tokyo. I took a bullet train down to Kyoto to go see Yamazaki Distillery, which was a bit of a challenge because I almost missed my train, I ended up being on the wrong platform. But luckily, you know, like Indian movie scene, you know, I'm running my suitcase.
Yeah. Is there English signs or is it all Japanese text?
I'm allergic to public transport.
What do you mean you're allergic to public? Is that from living here?
As in, I don't want to understand your public transport, you know? Just get me there. And that's very much me, not the Japanese.
Okay.
They gave me clear instructions. I just refused to understand them. But that's because I've been here for so long. I don't use public.
Yeah, you've been conditioned.
You just drive everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. That's right.
But mate, that bullet train was an experience. Like we're talking Auckland to Wellington in 3 hours. You know, it's just...
Can you imagine if they had something like that here? I mean, we don't have the population size to support it, which I think people need to understand.
It's all about money.
Yeah. Because it costs a lot to run.
But you need people on it who are going to pay to use it.
Yeah.
The government's not going to fund it.
No. That's why I think the high-speed rail thing, if it is going to work, the best place to do it is between Auckland and Hamilton because you've got the biggest city and the 4th largest city.
Yeah. But this bullet train, there's different lines. It's called Shinkansen. It's leaving every 3 minutes on the dot. Like you go 10:58 and
it's exactly there.
And on the platform, it says, you know, buggy or the box number 7 will be here.
Yeah.
And you just watch it roll in and the door is on where it says it will be. It will never be late. getting there. It will never be late leaving it.
Yeah.
And it will be where exactly it says it will be. It's just a brilliant experience. I think for Kiwis, if they ever end up in Japan, I think one thing we need to do is just get on the bullet train just to get a feel for how the life could be. It's very expensive. It's not cheap.
Oh, yeah. I'd imagine so.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, you have to, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Convenience is the number one factor
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
But also for the second distillery, when I left Tokyo, I had to go to, and I forget these villages because Kyoto was easy to remember.
Yep.
It's a big city, but the other ones, I could never name them unless I do the research again. Caught these 2 trains, got off at the wrong station, and this guard, he's just shaking. He's like, how are we going to help this guy? Like, he's running around. He's not understanding me. There's just like a guard.
Because I understand that English isn't, it's not well known in Japan.
Not out of the cities. In Tokyo, you will run into someone who will speak good English.
Right. But in rural areas.
Yeah. And when I ended up in this small village where Hakushu Distillery was, did my visit, came back to the station, and I lasted my whole trip without cash. But for whatever reason, I wanted some cash. And the ATM was just very confusing. Works very different to us. And these 2 older ladies, they were, like the guard, they were shaking them. Like, we can't help this young fella. He's asked us of something of us.
Did you use Google Translate?
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, that would be a lifesaver there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing it before Google Translate? You'd be standing there with a massive book like, crap.
Page 83.
Yeah.
I would like a glass of water, please. Yeah, but obviously people went in the past and they survived somehow.
So when you were making this whiskey...
Oh, I didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it?
No. I don't make whiskey. I just talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I sell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the process when you were meeting and talking about this whiskey? Like, how is Japanese whiskey different to, say, Indian whiskey or New Zealand whiskey? So,
like, Japanese whiskey, you gotta consider World War I and II in between,
right,
to fully understand it. So before World War I think this particular gentleman ended up in Scotland because he wanted to learn more about whiskey. Because directly before that, Japanese were drinking a lot of wine made out of rice,
right?
Shoju and all this other kind of stuff.
Yep.
So their hard spirit, or a spirit aged in oak, which is sometimes referred to as brown spirit, was not drunk. It was enjoyed, but not made in Japan. So this guy named Taketsuru, he ended up in Scotland, learned some of this art, married this Scottish lady. They moved back to Scotland, and he's known as the father of whiskey, in Japan.
Right.
And the story goes on from there. He worked for this company, helped them develop a distillery, but then he went and established his own distillery called Nika, which is quite well known. But then the 2 world wars kick in. What you got to understand is you need barley as a grain to make good quality whiskey, and which is not grown in Japan. They grow a lot of rice. Rice is grown everywhere. It's a big part of the diet. But also you need good quality, either American or Spanish oak casks, the whiskey barrels, to age the whiskey in, because there is oak in Japan, but it's called Mizunara. Not a very good quality oak in terms of aging the whiskey, because it is slightly porous. So if you put liquid in there for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, it will start to leak, which is not good for business.
Interesting.
So you fast forward quite a bit to after World War II, where, again, Japanese whiskey industry is not that big. But then again, get into the 80s, things have settled. The Japanese are trading with everyone. I guess all that sort of barley and everything else is turning up there. But also, what I saw firsthand, having been to Scotland, and then you go into the 2 Japanese distillery, if you put a blindfold on me and just took me from Scotland and next to this distillery in Japan, remove the Japanese signs and the Japanese, I would think I'm just in a Scottish distillery. The whole process, to the point, every step is exactly the same as how whiskey is made in Scotland, which is quite good. Japanese, they respect the fact, these guys are doing things a certain way. They're a very respectful culture. Yeah. So, and you keep fast forwarding to 90s, where demand for whiskey in Japan is still quite low. They're drinking a lot of the American stuff's coming in, Scottish stuff is coming in, their own stuff is coming in. But then you get into 2000, and some of the whiskey Japanese themselves have been aging for a long time. Right. It's starting to drink very, very well. And that's been sort of, coming to the 2005, 7, 8. These guys are just cleaning up every trophy that's available in the world. But the problem is there's no much production at the bottom of it. If you make a good quality whiskey, even if you want to do a young whiskey, it will age for 3 to 5 years. You could throw $1 billion at a big plant and go, I want 25 million liters of this whiskey. Well, thank you. We'll do that. We're Japanese. We'll do it very quickly. But it will still have to go away and age for at least that 3 to 5 years. And that's what's driving.
Does
that make
crazy.
sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think a lot of people don't realize that, right?
No.
With the aging of whiskey.
Yeah, and that's driving the price up significantly because there's just not so much of it around or not available, especially in New Zealand because no one cares about us, man. There's not enough of us here.
We're at the bottom of the world,
we're
man.
So far away.
It's both a pro and a con. Double-edged sword, right? It's great in terms of, we don't have to deal with the world's problems.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we're so far away from everything that people are like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that don't even know where New Zealand is. They think it's part of Europe. I'm like...
So when I first told my schoolmates that we moved to New Zealand, my best mate at time was confident that New Zealand is in continental Europe. And he actually, he ran to one of the classrooms and grabbed a globe and he was looking for New Zealand. I was like, I can just help you. It's here. It's at the bottom. It's like, oh, that's so far away. But this one in particular, I brought to sort of lay into, why I'm in Scotland, exclusivity of whiskies. So this is a 17-year-old blend.
So what's it called? Hibiki.
Hibiki, 17-year-old blend.
Yeah.
Which I remember paying about a couple $100 for.
Right.
A bottle, which is all right. It's a 17-year-old blend. It's nice. Comes in a really beautiful decanter.
Oh, nice. I like I love Japanese writing, eh?
Yeah.
Let's check this out. Hibiki.
But I would like you to guess how much I paid for this bottle. And I just told you that it retails around $200. Normally, that's what the normal retail is. But I'll segue you into, that.
I don't know, $60? I have no idea. Hibiki.
Okay.
Hibiki.
Just remember, I told you it retails around $200.
Yeah.
And then I laid you into that how exclusive it is, how hard it is to find, how very.
So did you pay more than that or less than that?
Way more.
Really?
Way more.
Are we talking what, $800?
Around there.
Really?
Yeah.
Bang. Okay.
And I actually didn't get this from normal retail route. Someone who had become a friend on LinkedIn messaged me that he would like to offload some of his investment bottles.
Okay.
And if I'd be keen to buy this particular bottle, but also this one here.
Okay. So that's another Japanese whiskey.
But this is from a distillery that has closed down now.
Ah.
Yeah.
So it would be worth even more than that?
Well, in Scottish whiskey industry as well, once a distillery disappears.
So how much would that retail for?
Well, the retail would be what, $100?
Yeah.
120.
But how much did you pay for it?
Too much.
Okay. We don't need to know exact figures.
No,
or maybe you can tell me off here.
I'll tell you off here.
Yeah.
And my wife will probably watch this as well. I paid $29.
So she doesn't know how much you paid for it.
Nah. But there's a blurred line. Just for the record, I'm not going to be opening these bottles. I'll probably end up using them in a corporate tasting.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Yeah, if someone says, hey, look, I want a money can't buy experience.
Yeah.
Whiskeys, they're very hard to find, all this and that.
So do you export a lot of your stuff overseas?
So
do you have buyers overseas, like say in Australia? Or...
We're getting a lot of inquiry. Right now, I just can't be bothered setting it up. The reason being is, it's not going to make me money. Right?
Why not?
Because people are asking for a $100, $200 bottle.
And to export it,
I make $20 a bottle. Unless someone says to me, I want 20 of them, it's just a waste.
It would have to be large quantities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other issue I have is, like I said to you, I still have the liquor stores, which takes 40, 50, 60 hours of my time, plus the 8 p.m. stuff, the networking and all that. I'm just kind of picking my battles.
So how does your day-to-day go?
Day-to-day?
Yeah. So give me an average day for you. So you get up in the morning, you go to the liquor store in Huntly?
Yep.
How long are you there for?
All day.
All day?
I'm there all day.
Or when you say all day, what are we talking, 8 hours?
We're talking all day. Depending on the day of the week, I'm there all day. So like I was there on Saturday. I was there at 9:30.
9:30, and then what time did you knock off?
9.
At night?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's me every day. Just work.
And this is why Indians are successful, people.
I don't know.
Because they do this. No Kiwis will do this. That is why you do well and they do not.
But I'll give you another
I
example.
have to respect you for that, man. Because
I don't know.
is that day in, day out? Do you have your weekends off?
There's no such thing as a weekend off. I'll take a day off if I need to. At the moment, in the last 18 months, all of my days off have gone into 8 p.m. related networking.
So the only time you take time off is if you're doing networking, say in Auckland, or you're going to something, or coming to the Kiwi Talks podcast.
So I'll give you a couple of small examples, and it will make you laugh, and maybe people will watch it and go, that guy is an asshole. Last night, my son's birthday is coming up.
Yeah.
On 9th of December.
Oh, no, I think I know where this is going. Okay.
And then my wife goes, you realize your son's birthday is coming up. It's on a Monday night, and I would like you to either take the day off or half a day off. So you're home. And I said to her, I know already because I had in the diary, and I had a private whiskey tasting that night. Yeah. And I've shifted it to Tuesday, the 10th. Okay. So I've kept the day clear.
Right.
But also, the other thing that's happening quite bad is quite often my wife will find out what I'm going to be doing is when one of my whiskey tastings goes live on the 8 p.m. Facebook page.
Right.
Where, the best one was when
Women are detectives, man, honestly.
Oh, they are. But I don't know if you saw, I did a couple of ladies-only whiskey tastings. And I put them live. It's business, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get these group of ladies to come in, and I was going to fundraise money for breast cancer.
Yeah.
And it went live. I was at home just working on my laptop, did the event. And then my wife's just like, she's just staring at me. And I'm like, what do you want? She's like, do you want to explain this? Ladies only. And I was like, look, average age would be probably 40 to 50 or higher. So you got nothing to worry about. It's not like a alcohol pop, cruiser or a long white tasting. Yeah. So, but mate, the working long hours for Indians, it's just, there's no method to that madness. It comes to a significant detriment to our health and well-being. Trust me when I say that. I'll say that with
in terms of what? Like, because it creates more of a drive? So
No. I mean in a negative way. It comes at a detriment to our health.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
health and well-being. It does,
yes. So in your instance?
In my instance, I've gone through some waves where I did slow down a little bit, but that's when I started to feel a bit depressed because I had been on a board of a big liquor company, still had the shops, and I don't know if you know, I started with some friends, Kirikaro Marathon, which was a 2-year project, left that, and there was a big gap where I was not doing much, probably giving more time to the family, but as a person who's always driven, who always needs stimulation, I was starting to feel a bit depressed.
Well, this is a question I want to ask you because as someone who's in a relationship with an Indian, I find that you guys, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but in some ways, work drives your purpose. Like if you're not working towards something, you kind of lose your sense of purpose. Like why? Because I've noticed this with my partner as well. When she's not working, or she spends too much time like on a holiday or something, she begins to question like, her worth, her whole purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's just a result of being conditioned in the environment of India where it's so, work driven.
I think people you're coming across are people like me or your partner who are coming from very hardcore, solid $500 million middle class Indian economy.
Yeah, well, I know she's from Baroda, which is known as the business.
Yeah.
Or Gujarat is the business state, right? Yeah.
So you just work.
That's just your thing.
You just work. You either are a businessman or you're in a government job, or if you're in the corporate sector, or if you're in the private sector, you just keep working. And then it's 30, 35 years later and you've accumulated what you are. Depending on how well-known you are, your coins would be equivalent of that. But you just keep working. That's where sometimes I make some very harsh right-wing commentary. But that comes from a perspective of very hard work, But I mean...
Hey, you're not the only one, man. I have a lot of Indian friends, man, and they say the same thing.
So
do you get frustrated with people that are on the benefit and people that just complain about their situation and not willing to work hard?
I wouldn't never complain about people on the benefit. I complain about people who systematically are taking advantage of it. And the town I work in...
Yep.
There you go. And I see it and it boils my blood. And I think it boils my blood because I'm a father now and I have my 2 kids. And I know the lengths me and my wife go to make life comfortable for these guys.
Yeah.
We spoil them. And then on the other spectrum, I see how kids are used as a tool of benefit fraud in this country.
Yes.
Which is
totally agree.
It's very sad.
Totally agree.
I don't know if you saw,
because I know people that work for Working Income, and they've told me the way. I mean, these people are smart, man. They know how to exploit the system. And you're from a country where there is no benefit system, right? If you don't work, you die, sort of thing. So, there is no. There's no benefit.
There's no question.
Yeah, there's no question. It's like you work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you made a point earlier. You don't know till you know something different. But there's also...
that's why I'd love to take a lot of these people and put them in India for like just a week.
Yeah.
I think a week would be enough. I mean, I did a massive 180 on a lot of my views after going to India. Like you can watch documentaries and stuff, but it's different when you're actually there and you're seeing it, like seeing the child poverty, seeing the pollution, seeing how hard people work, and people going without things, and yet they're happy, right? They're not complaining. They're doing what they need to do. Yeah. And then we come back, and then I come back here and people are complaining about, the homeless and poverty here. And I'm like, oh, you never hear an Indian or a Chinese person talking about poverty in New Zealand because they know what real poverty is. They've seen it, they grew up in it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure which council it is in South Island that has declared a climate emergency. And, you take that newspaper article and you show it to anyone on the street in India and China, and they're like...
climate emergency.
I would, but that's their mindset. They are in a very, very dirty place, and they're like, "Should I go live in Nelson in a heartbeat?" I don't care if there's fires every now and then, and there's lots of rain, and then there's climate, and I wouldn't be a climate change denier. It's happening, but for people who
I think some people are going a bit over the top with it. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
They're turning it into Reece. They're turning it into a business.
Yes.
Right? You look at...
And you've got like activists and people that are going... I saw some article where people are getting into depression over it.
Yeah, like children who are...
It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, seriously?
Yeah. Here's an example for you. There was a big march on Parliament, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The way I looked at it, you've got 10,000 people eating and drinking and shitting their way to the Parliament. That's climate change. These 10,000 people have gone and changed. They pulled 10,000 people from all over New Zealand and they put into a 1 square kilometre radius. Yeah. That's climate change.
Well, here's the thing also, right, is what is the biggest contributor to climate change if we're talking about pollution? It's people.
Yeah.
It's actually people.
It's
like if you want to solve the problem, then just stop having kids. Yeah. Right? Like when someone's talking about, climate change, we need to solve it, and they have like 5 kids, it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Seriously?
True.
Which people, they look at other things like, yes, like fossil fuels and all of that, but you have to look at that as well.
Yeah, I think...
And then I don't like it when people are standing in front of meat sections. There'll be signs saying "Don't eat meat." I'm like, oh, dude, you're not helping the problem. You're just going to piss people off.
Yeah.
Like I saw that, and you know what I thought? I'm like, yo, man, I wish I'd grab like some meat and just eat it in front of them.
Did you see that in New Zealand?
Yeah.
People are protesting within the supermarket.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I should see if I can find the video. They went into a countdown. There was one in Hamilton, actually, and it was somewhere in Auckland, and there's a bunch of like people, and then some lady was telling, because she was trying to get some meat, and this person was just standing there with a sign. She was like, piss off, man. Yeah. Just like, what are you hoping to achieve? You're not achieving anything. You think people are going to see those signs and be like, oh, yeah, they're right.
You're right. Today is the day I'll give up meat.
Yeah. And particularly in New Zealand, because meat is like embedded in the cultural DNA here. I often say, I'm like, trying to get Kiwis to give up meat would be like trying to convince Americans to give up guns.
Pretty much. There will be
it's embedded in the DNA here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think you're winning. Oh, you're losing an unwinnable war.
Well, I'll give an example. My father-in-law was here on a 6-month visit to spend some time with us. Quite important for the kids.
Yep.
He's freaked out how much fish, beef, lamb, and chicken we're eating every week. It's not that he...
Well, I don't think I think we consume too much meat here. Yeah.
Where he said, and he reminded me, and we had a conversation, he reminded me of the fact, growing up in India, having chicken come into the house was a big occasion. You did it once a month, or as we got a little bit richer, I guess, growing up in India, maybe once a fortnight, or you would go out and eat chicken somewhere, but you didn't bring it home to cook and eat. And fish was a rarity because New Delhi is very far from the clean source of waters,
Which I find interesting because India is one of the biggest beef exporters in the world.
Yeah, they are. Well, you got naturally happening. India's world's biggest dairy producer.
Yeah.
But they just end up consuming the whole lot because it's like, and some more. Yeah. But he's freaked out how much meat we're eating. He's kind of, I guess he's 69 now, so he's moving down the path of clean eating, being careful, obviously looking
Does he understand, though, why Kiwis are like that?
Well, I think he understands why. It's relatively cheap compared to your income levels. Now, people will get wild and they'll be like sending you emails. Meat is not cheap in New Zealand. What is that guy talking about?
Yeah.
But compared to your income levels, where in India, I thought it was significantly more expensive. Maybe because we were lower down the peg in the middle class, which is quite wide.
Yeah.
Here, you go to the supermarket and you get chicken or beef or something for $10, $15 for the family.
Yeah, I find lamb is more expensive than beef.
Yeah. What I miss in New Zealand though is goat, like good quality goat.
Yeah, you don't get much goat here, eh?
Not good ones anyway.
No.
You got to eat it fresh as well, like same day. You know, because quite
like I've because my partner's vegetarian.
Okay.
So inadvertently, I'm vegetarian at home.
Oh.
Outside of home, I'm not vegetarian.
Right.
but like she's cooked some really, really nice vegetarian meals.
Yeah,
and I think there's this stigma. It's like vegetarian. Oh, can't eat anything. And I was like that because I was used to consuming meat because that's what I grew up with, right? So now I've cut back on meat. I don't eat as much as I used to.
Right.
And I feel a lot better for it. I think everything in moderation.
Yeah.
You know, don't consume too much of anything.
Yeah. But I think, like...
So do you, because are you a vegetarian? No.
I eat everything. I've eaten some weird meats. Oh, not weird. I'm going to eat kangaroo.
Kangaroo?
I had crocodile meat.
Yeah.
We went to Cairns for a conference.
Nice.
And we got taken to a crocodile farm.
Yeah.
Which had, and very much like chicken. It's really white. If I didn't tell you it's crocodile meat, you'll just think it's chicken and just think nothing of it.
Yeah.
But also, just going back to the climate change thing, man, there's all these people being an Indian and just working nonstop. I respect them because they are raising an issue. I just sometimes wonder, how do you get the time?
Well, how do you balance? Because obviously, if you're working all the time, then you're neglecting time with your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
So how do you personally balance that? Is there any time where you have to kind of check yourself, or your wife has to check you and be like, "Hey, I've neglected time with my family."
So that happens twice a week. But the way I balance it out, right? I made my wife quit her job in childcare at the start of this year.
Oh,
and
so
she's working in the business now.
Okay.
So she's with me at the shop quite a bit. That was my way of...
Nice.
But also making life easy for her. She was working full time, dropping kids, and then managing her work at kindy, and then picking the kids up and then going to work, which was... Because I'm not home, that's not going to be good. So now she works 5 hours in our business. So she will just work the school hours. That frees up her time quite a bit.
Nice.
But as an Indian proud man, I feel like I've got to give a little bit more time to my family business because,
Yeah, which is fair enough.
That's how we look at things.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with that.
It'd be a very...
I think it's just because I think Kiwis, we're all about family time and all that, doing the kayaking, going to the beach. There was a new Indian restaurant that opened up in Victoria Street in Hamilton called Naughty Naan.
No, I mean...
Yeah. It was actually really nice. And anyway, I met the owner. And he owns Naughty Naan. He owns a couple of places in Auckland, India Lounge, I think it is, and Black Salt. And we had a good chat to him. And he was saying that, it's rare you see Indians doing the kayaking thing, going to the beach and stuff, because we're all just work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, also if we go there, we'll end up drowning because none of it...
Well, yeah.
We don't know how to swim.
Well, I mean... There's a huge portion of your population that are inland.
Well,
and I'd imagine you can't swim in a lot of the rivers and lakes there.
I remember, speaking of quality time, I remember when I was 15 and my brother would have been 11, one of the amusement parks in India added a water park.
Oh, nice.
And our move to New Zealand was already talked about when you were kind of moving. So my dad started spending quite a lot more time with us.
Okay.
And at the time, you didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But he took up this yearly membership for this water park, and we were ending up in there like every fortnight.
That's cool.
Or every weekend for a New Delhi kid to be around so much fresh water, it's like I remember from Mumbai, one of my cousins came to New Delhi, and we took him to the water park for 1 weekend. We were there for 6 to 8 hours just playing in the water, slides and whatnot. And he went back home and told his mum, "I'm not going to shower for a month. I've never spent." And you've been to Mumbai, you've seen how scarce fresh water is.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And to spend 6 to 8 hours in a water park and just playing with beautiful, sparkling.
And we take it for granted here.
We take it for granted, and we complain.
And a beach is never that far away. I mean, even Hamilton, it's an inland city. But Raglan is still only 40 minutes away. I mean, I lived in West Auckland, and Piha and Muriwai are like the same distance, so it doesn't really bother me. But people are like, how can you live in Hamilton? It's an inland city. I'm like, dude, it's not actually that far from a beach, man.
Yeah, well, so you can go to Mount or... or you can go to National Park,
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's a different place. I mean, one of the best things that I like about Hamilton is actually how close it is to a number of different places. It's like a central hub.
Yeah.
But people are like, no, you can't say that because that means that you're implying that the best thing about Hamilton is leaving Hamilton. And I'm like, but Monday to Friday, you're not going to be going anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
What difference does it make?
Yeah.
Monday to Friday, you're going to be working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then weekends, and it's not that far. It's just an hour and a half.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't envy any number of my friends who live in Auckland. I have some close friends who have moved back to Hamilton, having pursued the corporate, because
I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, get the hell out of Auckland, man.
Yeah.
Unless the industry that you're in is only there, then get the hell out of there. Particularly if you don't own a house. I'm like, you're screwed.
Well, one of my friends...
Unless you're on a ridiculously good wage.
Yeah. One of my friends went from being in Auckland on a very high wage, still not able to save any money, being in Hamilton. I think he's got 3 properties now in 4 years.
Yeah.
Just keeps buying more. It's just like, what do I do? They're only 400K, 500K. And so on.
I mean, when this rail kicks off, I feel like the Hamilton and Auckland labour markets will end up merging in some senses. I mean, Hamilton property will go up.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, right? So, I mean, if you can't afford to buy a property in Auckland, then I would imagine Hamilton, Tauranga is probably the best place to do it because that's going to be where the growth is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tauranga's...
Tauranga is Auckland 2.0, man.
Right.
In terms of, you've got the same problems because of it's geographically challenged because 2 harbours once again. And the city is just designed really badly, even though I'm pretty good in terms of knowing where I am. I can get my bearings correct. Once I go somewhere, I'm like, oh, okay, I have a rough idea. But with Tauranga, I always get lost, man. I'm like, what? Because all the different flyovers and the different ways of it and how it's connected, it's just, I always lose track of where I am. And I always have to rely on my GPS. And traffic is bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
So here's a question for you. What's your number one
priority
for 2020? Doesn't have to be work.
No, it's probably this podcast, to be honest.
Right.
To take it to the next level, get some more leverage and probably some possible bigger guests, I guess. One of the greatest things I like about doing this is I learn a lot.
Good.
And it's taught me to be objective, particularly with political people, right? Because when the Hamilton elections were on, I covered a lot of the local politics. So I spoke to numerous politicians, right?
Candidates.
And when you're speaking to them, because I think it's very easy for us to, we judge a politician based on the politics. But you've got to remember that they're people at the end of the day. And they have their views, and it's all about understanding why they view things the way they do. And it teaches you to be a bit more objective. And you're getting to know the person, the character. So, I mean, it's central government elections next year. So I'm hoping maybe I can get, Jacinda or Simon or whatever. But yeah, it's trying to grow this thing. And I don't think there's anyone in Hamilton doing it like I'm doing it. Actually, I don't think there's anyone in New Zealand doing it like I'm doing it. So yeah, it's probably about growing this thing actually. Yeah. But that's kind of like the main goal.
But doing it the way you're doing it, you're going back how it was done 150 years ago. If you look at it,
in terms of what? Just communication?
Communication, but a reporter at large. You know what I mean? It's the media has gone from being very independent. Guy starting a newspaper in 1850s, he wrote what he wanted to write, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's all about overheads and, You've got to make a narrative that's going to make money in terms of clickbait. You got fake news,
ads.
Which is what, and stuff can be edited. I mean, the only time I really edit something out of a podcast is if the guest is specifically like, "Hey, can you edit that out?"
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't do that.
Sure.
So I try to keep it as free flow as possible, and I think this is why politicians. It's a good platform for politicians because they don't get the time to necessarily say what they need to say, right?
Yeah.
And politics is really complex. I mean, there's so much about it I don't even know. And yet when you see these politicians on TV or whatever, they're given like 2 or 3 minutes. It's like, okay, explain your entire point. Imagine you trying to sell your entire, business in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very complex, right?
Yeah.
So you need to give people the time to do it.
Yeah. And I think you're on the right path. It's just getting the right people in consistently.
Yeah.
But also...
But it's all about networking as well, right? And usually when I get someone on, they might be like, "Hey, you should try to get this person on," or they might know someone who knows someone who knows someone.
True.
So, yeah.
Like my whiskey tastings is exactly the same.
Yeah. So you can relate. Yeah.
I can email the hell out of the CEO and saying, "Hey, can I sit down with you? Can you please be my mentor or whatever?" He comes to one of my tastings. You put a couple of whiskeys into him. And he's just giving you wisdom like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which will be quite same for you if you're meeting people from all these different spectrums.
And that's why I like to do it face-to-face as well, as opposed to Skype interviews or phone interviews.
Yeah.
It's different when you're sitting, across the table from someone.
Yeah.
You really learn about them. And I feel like that art is being lost because we're so addicted to phones and we're online and social media and we're losing the art to just have a conversation. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've met some pretty weird people. Like really socially. No, not on here necessarily.
Yeah.
Although some people have come on here, and I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have come on here because you have nothing to say. See, you can talk, right? So it's all good. But there's some people they come on here and they barely talk, and I have to carry the entire conversation.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, why are you even here?
Yeah.
If you don't want to talk, so and then there's some people, that just they just don't know how to have a conversation. They're so connected to online that. Having a conversation in person, they're all weird and stiff and rigid.
So speaking local politics, you know of Mark Bunting?
Yeah, I know Mark Bunting. I haven't spoken to him, but I do know who he is.
So he does this one-on-one course called Dotting Day. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
So I did that, I think, more than 12 months ago.
Okay.
It was in a group environment. And I took my wife to it because I wanted to learn a little bit about her.
Yeah.
You go in there, you self-evaluate based on these questions.
Yeah.
And then you get put into these 4 camps, which are identified by different colors. And I came up, and it was funny, at age 34, I think I finally understood my purpose in life.
Which is what?
Is to broadcast the shit out of everything.
Well, hey, you're very good at that.
So, and to give you a very small layman version of it, I came up as a purple dot, a solid purple dot. A purple dot will start 10 projects, right? None of them are going to get finished.
Yep.
And as the number 10 is failing, another 8 are in the pipeline.
Right.
Right.
So you always have a plan or some. Do you find that your mind works overtime? Like you're always thinking of ideas? Yeah.
And
I'm the same. And as a result, sometimes I find it difficult to sleep because it's just
so this morning,
turning overtime.
I was up till 1:30 in the morning, even though I had to be up at 5:30 for the other speech. Or the talk. But I finally understood that my purpose in life is to gather attention. Right? That's the part I'm good at.
That's good.
That's all right. But there's a fulfillment part. And for my wife, she came up as a yellow dot. Yellow dots are process driven. The cup stays there and actually goes here.
But that's good though, because it's like a balancing. You balance out each other.
Yeah. And that's what, it was a brilliant day for me. And I quoted, and I'm quoting it right now. For me, there was a brilliant aha moment. It's like, that's how you get ahead. No one individual person can achieve everything. Look at some of the really big guys, they surround themselves with teams of people who
are... Well, if you hang around with successful people, you can't help but be motivated by it, right?
But also finding the people with the right...
Mindset.
Yeah. Or the skill set, because if you put too many yellow dots together, nothing will happen. All they'll keep doing is just keep dressing this up and making sure the dots...
So you need to have a good balance.
Yeah, you need...
Different personality types.
Different personality types.
Different characters.
That was quite good for me. And I think politics, in a way, works like that. You need...
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We tend to focus in on one individual. But when you look at it, it's actually a team effort. Like Jacinda is the leader of Labour, right?
Yeah.
But she works in conjunction with a team.
Of course.
Same with Simon Bridges, right? So there's a team aspect to it.
Yeah.
We just have this thing where we focus on the one individual. But
Yeah.
you look behind any successful person, there is usually a great team behind that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with whiskey as well, the way I look at it is you can put the $500 bottle whiskey, the liquid, into a $30 bottle. It remains the same. It remains a $30 bottle. Till you open and you try it and you have a brilliant experience, you'll still not pay.
Yeah.
But that $500 bottle is presented in a way.
Yeah.
A story is told.
Yeah.
Right? And you sort of segue into it and go, whoa, I'm going to have an amazing experience. Politics is a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
You know, everyone talks about Simon Bridges as his star is not that big. You know, he's not it doesn't come across as a celebrity.
Which is why I want to get him on here, because I think he might be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
He says some stuff and I'm like,
yeah.
So maybe during the long form he might be better because he has to condense a whole bunch of information into 2-minute sound bites.
Because I think he's not like John Key, where John Key was like, you know.
No, well, some people are better at those things than others, right?
Yeah.
So he might be better at long form.
Yeah.
He could be terrible at that as well. I don't know, but
Time will tell.
but like at least if I get him on here, then you know people can make.
I really hope you get him, because I think, and I hope you get Jacinda and other big
It's
politicians.
plausible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think someone like Winston Peters would be a lot harder to get down here because he's not down these ways.
Right.
Whereas Jacinda's from the Waikato. She's down here frequently.
Yeah.
Simon Bridges lives in Tauranga.
Right.
So it is at least feasible. So
On one of their visits.
Yeah. So it is plausible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chloe Swarbrick is another one I'd like to have on here. So it really just depends, you know.
I met Grant Robertson at a charity thing last week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's he like?
Very funny.
Yeah?
Yeah. And
You wouldn't think that.
you wouldn't think that. And I've always naturally, and I'm not a Labour supporter. Like, my friends are going to like burn your YouTube.
Well, it's to be perfectly honest, it's very rare you meet an Indian that is a Labour supporter. Like, I'd say it's very, very rare. Because you guys are business-oriented people, which makes sense.
Grant Robertson, I've always liked because he's pro-business and he talks always about growing the economy, which being a hard worker, I'm always about growth. And it's just a mindset, man. You know, we always want to grow business, want new business and all that kind of stuff. The true Kiwi mentality says, hey, just, you know, it's okay to chill sometimes. Take, you know, like what Jacinda says, her message is quite clear. You know, in this pursuit of constant growth, we're leaving a lot of people behind, which is very important. And, you know, having the...
Well, it's all about the balance, right?
Yeah, you got to
And
look
I think sometimes, you know, it can turn ugly politics because there's almost like a sense of tribalism with it.
True.
And people pick their sides. It's like, you know, because I know some people who are national fanatics. I know some people who are Labour fanatics. Yeah. I tend to sit in the middle. I'm like, okay, there's policies I like on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is good in terms of if I get them on here because I know I'll be a bit more objective. Like there are some media personalities out there that you can tell that they are totally biased to their side.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. So like for someone like me, I have no desire to meet Jacinda. You know, she works hard and she's doing my job for my country.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Grant Robertson and I told him what I do. And he goes, Jacinda loves whiskey. She's always talking about whiskey. She loves the whiskey. Being in UK, she was introduced to it. Yeah. And even now, she likes Article. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I kind of want to meet her now over a whiskey. And again, I would love to.
It could happen. Who knows?
I would love to sit down with Winston Peters because the rhetoric at the ugly side gets taken up. You know, like you say, the soundbite. But there's a lot of good shit Winston Peters says and he wants to achieve.
Oh, yeah. And also the thing is, right, is because the thing is with politics is they control certain aspects of all of our lives, right? And the thing is, unfortunately, if you implement some type of policy that affects people in a negative way, they hold a grudge.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you do anything good, they're like, nah, this person's an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't like them.
Yeah. But also...
I know some people who hate Jacinda, like full-on hate her.
Yeah.
Just because of one policy that she implemented.
You're obviously in a relationship with an Indian lady.
Right.
And, you know, like in the last month, we've had a lot of comments from Shane Jones and all these guys, which is taken quite negatively by Indian community. But as an Indian guy who's been here for 18 years, I'm kind of like, actually what he's saying...
Well, there is there's a legitimate aspect to it, right? But I think we have this woke culture where people just, they just react and stuff. It's like, hang on.
Yeah.
Before you get angry, particularly if you have an emotional attachment to an ideology. So with the sense with Indians, right? Because arranged marriages is quite a common thing within the culture. So they might feel like their culture is being attacked, which isn't necessarily correct. And when you feel like you're being attacked, it's the same with religion, right? When somebody might, question a religious view or religion in general, they feel like they're personally being attacked.
True.
Which is not necessarily the case. So, because there's an emotional attachment to that ideology. And the thing is, once you're in a defensive state of mind, you can't think logically at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't remember whose content I consumed that gave me the mindset of, the 72-hour kill switch, where if something's deeply affecting you and you think you're about to go do something stupid, put a 72-hour deadline on it. Because by the end of it, you're going to look at it completely differently. And that's not forcing yourself to change your mind, but just...
It's just the way humans are wired, right? When you're emotionally upset, you don't look at things objectively.
No.
And there's always this fight between the logical side and the emotional side.
Yeah.
It's like how people, there's, a woman who's in a relationship with a man and the man keeps beating her up, but she stays with him because she has an emotional attachment to the man and she's unable to see past it and maybe think of things logically. Yeah. And people will be like, why is this person, why is she staying with him? Why doesn't she leave him? But I'm be like, that's why. Yeah. And hey, dude, I'm preaching to myself here, man. There's been times where, I get into an argument and I have to be like, hey, I need to go away and calm down.
Yeah.
Because I'm like so, upset and emotionally just, charged up that I know I'm not thinking logically.
Yeah.
If you can pinpoint when you're like that, that's good. Yeah. But it's very, very difficult to do. It's
hard, But one thing I've learned, I'm 35 and I've been in business 15 years, is there comes a point where this is not sitting with you principally well. You walk away from the situation. And I've twice in my young life so far walked away from key governance positions because I just fundamentally couldn't sit well with it. And I knew I would not be able to adjust to that level of thinking. But
that's good.
Yeah.
And that you can see that in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at Kirikiri or a marathon, I thought that was going to be more work of legacy for years to come. But it started to take an ugly head, unfortunately, in the second, third year.
Yeah.
And I just completely walked away from it. That emotionally had a big toll on me. But I realized, look, something's been created by a group, and now this group wants to take it in a different direction. Just walk away from it instead of stressing about it and looking at a situation and going, I'm not happy with this or how things are run.
Yeah.
And so we're going to walk away. And luckily for me, 8 p.m. came directly after that.
Well, that's good.
All of my energy, all of my desire to gather attention is going into 8 p.m. But having done, and going back to Mark's cause, I know my wife supports me, my brother supports me as well. Sometimes I have to force myself as well because I can create attention, but I will not sell, if that makes sense. And I don't, a lot of people say that to me and they laugh at me when I start my whiskey tasting saying, today you're going to meet the world's worst salesperson in the history of mankind. They're like, what are you saying, man? We paid $60, $80 to come hear you. It's just because by the end of the tasting, I actually forget to tell them they need to buy this. I just let them walk away. And a good friend of mine, Glenn Marvin, and another one, Trevor Johnston, they get mad at me. Like, they threaten physical violence. Like, where's the order form,
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I feel like if I made an impression, they will buy them when they're ready, which works in a certain way. But sometimes you got to lead people into it as well.
Yeah.
So there's little things that...
marketing in a sense.
Marketing, but also saying, look, today I've sold this... I've spent an hour talking to you about this cup, buy this cup. And also, that's all it takes sometimes. You know, instead of people go, oh, that was just an experience. And that's true for my whiskey tastings now. Where in 2020, I want to shy away from public tastings because people are just not buying. They're just coming out for a dinner and drinking some whiskey. Where I want to focus more on private tastings or corporate tastings where people are coming in knowing they will be sold to, but also have the means to buy. Where the public tasting is good fun, but balancing that time versus the return, there's a very poor return from them.
Well, look, I think that's a good way to wrap up
Sure.
the conversation. We've had an awesome chat.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to do this again at some point because I've really enjoyed this.
Well, next time I come, I think I'll come a bit later in the day.
Yeah. Well, we can organise it. There's no rush, and you're a busy man. I'll be keen to see how everything's going in 2020. But so what's the best way of getting in contact with you in regards to wine? So where's the best place to contact you or 8PM and all the products and stuff?
So if you want to buy stuff, you go to 8pm.co.nz.
Okay.
You can communicate with me through the Facebook page.
Yep.
Or my LinkedIn or my Instagram.
Yep.
All of those are open because I love talking about whiskey. In terms of doing a private function, again, contact me either directly or through 8PM. Or you just want to have a yarn. I love chatting, as you can tell. I'll talk forever.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It makes it easier for me as a host. if the guest is just keen to talk, it's like, okay, I don't have to steer the conversation as much.
I've been inspired by your setup. I mean, I've seen it in video, but you obviously see just a small window. But I'm just blown away how much effort you put in, especially with soundproofing and all that kind of stuff. But when I do my whiskey reviews, it's just like cameras on, I drink a little and talk a bit and then stop. But, but I'd love to come back and record maybe a whiskey review with you.
Yeah. We'll definitely do it, man. We can organise it anytime. Cool. All right. Well, that's the show, guys. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and go to 8PM if you're needing some whiskey. Probably don't drink it at 8PM. But yeah, that's the show. And until next time, stay safe.